Mayor Paul Tenhaken unveiled his plan today to City Council as well as other organizations throughout the city. Well, the nativity scene started here at 5:30 and already people have lined up to take a walk through these scenes. I'm going to take a step behind the camera and show you a little bit about what's going on behind me. The Independent Order of Odd Fellows has worked for the last 3 years to raise money so they can give unmarked graves a marker of their own. Good evening, Julia. Dustin Hanson with the city says they brought in operators last night and the early morning to monitor the roads. According to court documents, this is not the first time this incident has happened. Multiple women in multiple counties have reported harassment and stalking from this man for multiple years. Lecturer and his students have spent over 12 hours a day here since the beginning of summer, building and perfecting their space rover in the hopes that one day it could be on the moon. It was here at this intersection where the SUV and motorcycle collided, killing Jonathan Paulsness. Today in court, the judge said Cerdez saw his body in the road, lit a cigarette, and then drove home to Brandon to drink more. Here at the 6th annual Sanford International at the Minnehaha Country Club. The tournament will feature close to 80 professional golfers, and hundreds of attendees here are excited for the action. When staff at Avera Health asked Rachel what her Christmas angel gift would be, they told her to dream big. She said she wanted nothing more than to see her favorite artist in concert. What she got was so much more.
KELOLAND's Renee Ortiz has her story.
Stephanie Reiners has lived in Parker for several years, but has never felt safe in her own home.
It never ends for me. It just never ends. He had been stalking around my house to where I couldn't leave my windows open at night and leave the shades open, drive by my house over and over again, bang on my door time after time, and even grab the handle to try to come in.
This patio is one of Reiner's favorite spots, but she rarely spends time outside.
You come to a point where you are so frustrated that it's just like you go in and shut your door and you don't work out in your yard, you don't sit on your patio, and because you just never know. The minute you take and go, all right, maybe I'm gonna get a break, the minute you relax, boom, there he is.
Reiners was one of the women called to court in 1998 when Greg Farrar was charged with 63 counts of stalking and making harassing calls.
I got a subpoena to go in a courtroom because he had dialed my phone well over 100 times.
Farrar was convicted of 11 counts and spent some time in jail. Reiner says that wasn't the last time she heard from him.
Hey, Steph, this is Greg Farrar. I've just been trying to get a hold of you. All I wanted to say is I hope the roses that you got at Valentine's Day were okay.
For the last 10 years, Reiner says Farrar has continued to call, send letters, and even show up at her work. Now that he's accused of groping an elderly woman in Freeman and facing charges, Reiners is telling her story in hopes of finding justice and a sense of safety.
I just need everybody to please come forth because I can't be terrorized for the rest of my life from this man, and I wish this upon nobody. And I hope everybody, just one story, please, let's take care of this.
Renee Ortiz, KELOLAND News. Leprechauns weren't the only thing to visit South Dakota on St. Patrick's Day. Hundreds of eagles nested in the trees and on the lake here in Clark County.
We've had sub-adult eagles, adult eagles, and very young juvenile eagles partake in this spectacular event in Clark County.
Wildlife Conservation Officer Zach Thompson says it's normal to see an eagle or two roosting in the trees, but seeing hundreds is a different story.
Eagles are going north up to their breeding grounds, but on their way through, following the food sources, they found an absolute awesome food source just south of Clark here, where there's fish in the lake.
Sioux Falls resident Kelly Kirsch captured these photos while the eagles were feasting on fish.
I've been trying to get a good picture of an eagle for years, and eagles are tough to do. Where I did my laying in the fence line and waiting for them to show up. Trying to get pictures of one flying, walking across the field, they'd fly over all the time, and it's harder than hunting.
Because of the cold weather, many of these eagles have left the lake and nested in the trees. Thompson says he never gets tired of seeing these eagles soar.
It's actually a treat to be able to experience this when a lot of people don't get to experience the sheer factor that the eagles were in.
In Clark County, Renee Ortiz, KELOLAND News.
KELOLAND's Renee Ortiz attended today's sentencing and brings us details from the Minnehaha County Courthouse.
The crash happened at the intersection of Arrowhead and Veterans Parkways on July 29, 2023. 38-year-old Anthony Cerdez was arrested and charged with a hit-and-run, vehicular homicide, and drunk driving. It was here at this intersection where the SUV and motorcycle collided, killing Jonathan Paulsness. Today in court, the judge said Cerdez saw his body in the road, lit a cigarette, and then drove home to Brandon to drink more. Court documents state Cerdez had a blood alcohol level of 0.08. When police arrived at his house to arrest him, they said they found more than 40 empty beer cans and trash bags full of empty liquor bottles in his garage. Today in court, Cerdez's supporters filled the courtroom as he told the judge, "I will not be drinking ever again. It's brought me nothing but trouble." Before sentencing him to 10 years in prison, the judge said, quote, "This was not an unfortunate accident. It is a choice to drink and drive." In Sioux Falls, Renee Ortiz, KELOLAND News.